All right, welcome back. The hashtag is Breakfast Daily on all social media platforms that you may be watching us on, whether Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching us. And WhatsApp line is 0550-585832. Now, the show is interactive. We do want to hear from you, especially if you are in the communities, where we are talking about some of the challenges that we've been experiencing. We have, and we want to discuss with you an update on the tidal waves. This challenge with the tidal waves. This morning there was a report in one of the papers where people were saying that don't give us rice and maize. No, we want to see defense. That's what food is not our problem.
Of course,
Yeah, we have food.
Yeah,
I mean, don't bring us food. We want.
No, but even if they don't have food, I don't think that what they really need now is food.
Yeah.
I agree that, I mean, you need that to survive. But at this point in time, I don't think that what the victims need is food. I mean, we have to look at permanent solutions to this. Now, if my home has been washed away, why am I even going to cook that food? Why am I even going to store stuff? This is the genuine problem. And I think that they need a proper measure put in place just so they can have their lives back. Because that is really what they need. And for how long can you supply food to them anyway?
Right?
So you send them food today, and then what?
And then what happens?
Are we always going to have cooked food for them? I mean, how are they going to live moving on? So I think that we should have proper measures put in place to find a lasting solution to this problem.
So we have Sylvester Kumawu, who is the assemblyman for the Salakope electoral area. Good morning, Sylvester. Hello, Sylvester. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes. How are you doing this morning? Welcome to Breakfast Daily.
I'm good. How are you too?
Very well, thank you. All right, so just give us a sense of the situation on the ground today.
All right, I would like to use this opportunity to say a very good morning to your cherished viewers across the country. I would say that this morning we are doing very much well at Amutino Salakope, as the tidal flood that came in on Saturday and Sunday has receded, and in a way, people are only counting their losses, and life is getting back to normalcy.
Okay, so just during the time, just the aftermath of the tidal waves, there was a lot of cry for sea defense and all of that. Give us a sense of what the general feeling among all the dwellers in the area, in your electoral area, how they feel about this sea defense thing, whether to move away from the coast or to rather seek or call for sea defense for it to come and be maybe a permanent solution to the challenges of tidal waves. Okay, it seems we've lost Sylvester. Sylvester is the assemblyman for the area, and we'll hopefully get him back soon so that we can talk to him about what is happening in the community.
So he said something, and I was going to ask, I mean, if you say life is coming back to normalcy, what exactly
does that mean?
Does that mean, because people have had their buildings washed away, I mean, he probably could explain to us the gravity of the problem, So the businesses that were affected, are they back in business? Are they getting back to business? I mean, what is the level of normalcy that we are talking about here? How are children coping? How are families, doing? People who had terrible effects of the tidal wave. How are their lives coming back? Do they now have their homes back? People who lost their homes, are they being given some kind of permanent areas of abode? What exactly is it like to say life is coming back to normalcy?
I'm also curious as to when the tidal wave is coming in. Is this something that can be predicted you know, so that you know in advance, maybe 12 hours in advance, 5 hours in advance, that look, there's going to be a tidal wave, it's coming in, and so we need to move now, let's go now. What does it mean? Are there safe areas that people can move to, you know, temporarily till the wave goes back, you know, all those kinds of things. What has been the historical, you know, tradition that they've practiced, that, you know, how frequently this you know, the occurrence of the tidal waves and so on, you know, because they live there. He's been there, you know, probably since a child, right? And
so maybe if you can tell how it's going to be
how
like,
it's going to be and all of that, So hopefully, when he comes back on, we can engage him on some of those things.
Of course, and sometimes, you know, it may be, well, so they will have to let us know, you know, because of how things have been over the years, you know. But in case we can't tell, because I think sometimes, so for instance, with what happened yesterday with the rains, you know, in the morning, the skies were very clear. And then all of a sudden, you could tell that it was very cloudy, became so windy. In that instance, what can you do? You know, after that, what do we do? You know, and these are questions, you know, that we need to find answers to. You know, can you tell there's going to be a tidal wave? When it comes, what can you do? After that, what can you do? You know, so for instance, are we now beginning to maybe look at equipping residents, you know, just to be able to save themselves and property? I mean, how is it going to look? Because now, if the defense wall, sea defense wall is not up, you know, what are some first aid measures that people can, even on their own, effect just to wait for bigger help? You know, so I think that these are things that we should be looking at individually, how we can also maybe deal with disasters, how we can help ourselves.
Yesterday,
you know?
Was it yesterday? No, Tuesday, when Samens was here with us, and we're talking about it. I was suggesting that, look, a lot of these areas had mangroves. You know, a lot of these areas had mangroves. So let's talk about, even you go back and look at the landscape maybe 30, 40 years ago. There were mangroves in a lot of these areas, right? If you look, there's some of the footage that we had, you will see green patches of, you know, foliage, you know, on the where you can see that there was some kind of greenery, you know, between the sea and where they live, right? But at this point in time, I'm asking myself, is that not maybe a cheaper solution? Because government is complaining about cost of the sea defense. The people need a sea defense, some kind of a sea defense. I'm just wondering that, is there no way that, you know, the land between and it's not even the land, there's a stretch of like a sand barrier between the sea, and then there's some water before the shore itself. Can we not grow mangroves? Of course, mangroves don't take a short time to grow, but it may be something that we need to look at in a 10-year plan, 15-year, 20-year plan, you know.
No, I agree with you.
So whilst we are looking for money to do sea defense, mangroves may be another option.
And it also brings my mind to our own kind of activities, you know, that we engage in. So if we are winning sand at the beach, if we are clearing these kind of
mangroves,
mangroves, you know, so it means that our kind of everyday activity is also compounding the situation, you know, because as for nature, there's not much we can do about it. But what we can help, what are we also doing? Because we also have a role to play to check the intensity of these disasters when they are coming in, you know.
I agree with you 100%.
To a very large extent, we are the ones contributing to this. So, well, let's say that the tidal waves will come, but would it be as grave? You know, if you are not winning the sand, if we are not clearing the mangroves, if we are not thinking of coming too close to the, the beach line, would that help in a certain way? You know, so I think that human behavior, what we are also doing, in some way, is contributing exactly to this, grave disaster.
Anyway, well, let's take a short break. We will come right back and get into some more conversations.
You're welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily. So we are having a conversation, on the tidal wave that hit parts of the Volta region and Greater Accra region as well. Now I've been joined on the line by Tugbe Alusude. He is NADMO Director, Ketu South. Thank you very much. Welcome to Breakfast Daily. Pardon me if I butchered your name.
Thank you so much.
Right. So tell us, what is the update, on victims of the tidal waves currently?
Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me join your program this morning. And I want to extend my greetings to your cherished viewers and listeners to the program. Actually, they have assumed the normal life as it was before the incident.
Okay.
The incident happened on that Sunday. And before we could continue with our investigation on Monday, we realized the sea water has retreated back to its bank. And people have started their normal life. But the only problem is the rooms and other places, the compound are wet for some people. So we identify all this in a Kampala report and sent to the national through the region. But looking at the situation now, even though the situation normalized itself, there is likelihood that it can happen anytime soon because we keep on seeing this thing over the period. Last year alone, it happened about 4 times. So this year, it can happen the same way. And we are thinking about relocating the people to the nearest small island located in the lagoon, which is not far from the beach. So this is what we are working on now.
So, Togwe, are you saying that the island does not get flooded at any point in time when the tidal waves rise?
There is a part of it that is not so low that it can also drop, but part of it is a bit low. So we will have to use the part that is a higher bit, which cannot be affected directly.
And this section can accommodate everybody?
Certainly, I don't think so, but it can accommodate majority of them.
So the rest of the people, where would they be?
Okay, we need to start at it and then look at it. There is a neighboring community which is not far from them. They are sharing boundary with. But we need to start relocating those who are severely affected since last year and continue from that direction.
Right. Now, how soon are we looking at doing this relocation?
The MC is working seriously with the regional minister, and very soon they will start the 2-bed room unit for some of the people. And according to the minister and the MC, they are looking at 100 rooms or 100 houses.
Okay.
And we are going to start with 15 anytime soon. This is what we are working on now.
Right. Now, you said life is back to normalcy. The people are coming, have their lives back. What exactly does that mean? Because we saw businesses that were affected. We saw some structures that, weren't in good shape. So are you trying to say that for majority, because you also said that some people still have their rooms wet and all that they're trying to clean up. So the people whose lives are back to normalcy, are they back at work? Are their homes now dried up? Are they okay? Is that what you are telling us?
Yes. You see, I don't know which picture have you seen, but the previous one, the sea has eroded the houses. So there's no place there that people can live again. Even though the sea has brought some sand to the place again, you will not know even the houses were washed away in the previous time. But the people who are now currently in their home, what happened is the water just entered into the room and then back up to its own bank. So now, even the shops are open. We have been there. We are there with them all the time.
Right.
So yes, I even have pictures of people trading or doing their businesses.
Right. So let me find out from you. So when this happened over the weekend, what exactly was NADMO's support to these victims?
The people, when we went to them that very day, their message was that they are no more interested in any food item and those things. What they need now is the protection of their place, probably the sea defense. But looking at the situation, how expensive that will be, or how the challenge it will be to the government at this time to do it quickly as possible, we are rather looking at constructing houses for some people who are severely affected. This is what the MC and the regional minister are working on.
Right. But did you share in their plight? You know, when they said they didn't want food items, they wanted a more permanent solution. Do you agree with them?
Yes, our investigation, we see that they need some form of support, like access book for the children, and maybe probably some clothing items for them. And we are working on that so that we can get some access book for the children. I am working with some individuals and as well as the regional directory so that we can get those items for the students and some people, some victims.
Do you have any timelines to this?
Yes, probably we are giving ourselves within this to next week.
Right. Thank you very much, Togbe, for your time this morning.
You're welcome.
Right,
Yeah.
so this is it, you know. So people don't have proper places to sleep, and we
Yeah.
are bringing them food. And so, I mean, they're right to say that this is not what we are looking
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
You know, so this is
But
it.
it's interesting, he says that this particular tidal wave that came in didn't destroy homes as the previous one did. This one, water washed into their homes, wet everywhere, and then washed back out, you know. Yeah, so I think that, I mean, this situation seems to be a little less dire than the last time, you know, the tidal waves came through.
David,
Yeah.
if you've experienced
Yeah.
flooding in your home before, there's nothing like this wasn't dire and this.
Oh, no.
No, hold on. What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
not you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about what the NADMO director said,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you wake up and see your room
Flooded.
flooded,
Yeah.
your
Mind you,
I mean,
electricity is on, gadgets may be on.
it is frightening.
It
You know,
is,
I've
yeah.
experienced something like that before,
Yeah.
and it is frightening,
I'm
especially when
actually-
you have family with you.
Yeah,
You know, if you have children with
I'm actually
you.
very surprised and maybe impressed to that we didn't record deaths.
Yeah.
You know, in this particular one, because I mean, okay, so our colleague Fred Duho, who brought us some reports from on the tidal waves, has joined us on the show this morning. Fred, good morning.
Good morning.
How are
Pablo
you?
And Freeman.
Good morning.
I'm good. How are you too?
We are
We
good.
fine.
Thank God.
Have you had breakfast this morning?
I've had my breakfast
Yeah,
already.
okay.
I'm sorted.
Fred,
Kowalski.
Fred, so one of the things that I'm wondering about with this particular one, because the report we saw, I was thinking about it later, that the people talking about fridges, the water comes in, your iron, your fridges, so they have electricity in their homes. It's amazing that we didn't record any deaths.
For instance, yesterday when we even got to Aklabanya, surprisingly the lights were off because of the rainfall yesterday.
Yeah.
So in certain circumstances, would I say even miraculously, these things do not occur because the moment the water enters their room, they sense it and they have to quickly move out of the room. Like you vividly painted, assuming there is that water and the current flowing, the electricity is on, anything at all could happen. Entering into the sockets, anything at all can happen. But you see, this whole conversation, we've not been situating it probably in the proper context from where I sit.
Okay.
Because it varies from location to location and their needs vary.
Yes.
So for instance, when you go to Ketu South, when you come to Keta and when you come to other areas, and perhaps maybe Cape Coast and Shaman and those areas, they may have their peculiar needs they would have to probably be addressed. Okay, the situation where, for instance, when you look at Ketu South, Salakope, Kejikope and those areas, specifically, you would see that literally the only thing that is left is the road that connects Keta to Aflao.
Wow.
If this situation should continue, I mean, consistently,
You wash the road away.
I mean, if the road gets cut off, it means that those even traveling from Keta will not be able to make it to Aflao through this particular route. So these people, they need a sea defense wall. Okay, that would probably block the wave from entering into or join the sea. More, it looks more like it wants to catch up with the lagoon on the other side. So anytime it happens, the sea crosses the road and enters the lagoon.
So, David and I were trying to look at, okay, so we need a sea defense wall, agreed. But in the meantime, is there any kind of thing we can do immediately, like for instance, growing the mangroves? I mean, is that something we can, because it looks like the sea defense wall conversation is going to be a very long time kind of a project we will do. Now we're also talking about relocating the people to an island. We are now going to be building, we don't even have a budget for that now. So, and people don't have homes now. Those who got their homes washed away in the previous tidal wave, I don't know what has happened to them. And now we've had another one. Even the NADMO gentleman also said that we should be prepared. Was it the NADMO man or the assembly member?
The
I think.
man.
Okay, so he said we should prepare for more because last year it happened about 4 times. This year alone, we've seen one already. So it looks like it's going to be happening. Exactly. Is there something we can do? Because as for this, we are going to build. I mean, we've spoken about affordable housing for God knows how long, and that hasn't happened. So for this to come is something we've not budgeted for, to come in. I don't know if it's something that we are going to be doing immediately, but can there be something else, that we can do?
The immediate steps that needs to be taken is relocating these people.
To where?
Okay, now I would say that when you look at the lagoon and the sea, the people are literally just in the middle of these two river and then water bodies actually.
Okay.
So essentially, if we can build, let's say, flats. You remember those days, the Nkrumah era, where they have
you are saying those days.
Yes, the Nkrumah flats, where even as we speak, people are residents in those kind of flats. Okay, and they are solid as
communities.
I mean, so if we can have those flats just along the road, okay, then we reclaim the land from the lagoon, because obviously the sea defense would cause like the other day when I was saying that the government would have to weigh the options, which one would be feasible in the interim. And for me, I feel the relocation would work. How much would it cost us to build, let's say, a flat to accommodate about 500 people at a go? Okay, so a flat, even if we have about 3 or 4 story flat just by the roadside, 4 of them, that should be able to house, this number of people that we are talking about at the Keta and Wagga side.
Madam Joyce, I say that the 35 million cedis that we've been able to accrue from the PRT Support Fund is not enough, to put up.
Oh, but that one, because they're looking at the health center, they're looking at various things. Apart
No,
from
but
housing,
you see, so my issue is
an entire community.
My issue is
exactly the case.
No, I get
these
you.
communities do have hospitals already.
No, I get you. But in terms of so what I'm trying to say is at least the little that much that we've been able to raise. I'm looking at put structures up. Let's find some let's say CHIPS compound for the people now. As for the how much, that's why I keep saying that even for something that we've set a fund, we are trying to generate a lot of money, get people to pump money into it, we know the see top, So I'm looking at, we don't have any budget for this. Okay, we did not plan for this. as we speak, I haven't heard any fund for the tidal wave victims. Does it
There
look,
is actually for the
Okay.
Volta region. I mean, the
Okay.
corporate organizations, when they came together, they
is
put
it
their
something
resources.
that government?
No, that this is, I mean, individuals or indigenes from the Volta region and corporate organizations coming together
And
to.
how far
And
would that go?
Kenashigbe is the one,
Yes.
probably they are part of this particular
Okay.
fund. As we speak, I think the last time I spoke with him yesterday, he was trying to paint a picture of, I mean, they've gathered about less than 50,000 or 500,000 cedis in that fund, which is, I mean, nowhere near a project of a building. So what he was telling me is that they want to bring in engineers to assess the situation, and for how long these engineers would come, only God knows. But I mean, if the engineers should come in, okay, how much would 3-story flat cost us? Okay, then they'll be able to now come in to mobilize the resources quickly to put these things up.
After the housing minister, Works and Housing Minister visited, that is latter part of last year, right? Was it in November or December that we saw the tidal waves?
I think
It was November last
right?
year, yes.
He was there.
No, he held a press conference.
Oh, he did not come there.
No, he
Assessor
only
Patrick
held,
was not there.
he held
Right,
a press conference.
let's
actually.
look at when the press conference was even done. Okay, have you seen any progress?
Concrete steps, no.
After that?
No. I mean, we all went back to sleep until this one, and we even least expected this one to come this quick.
That's quick, yes.
So that is how come it's like the conversation is back to the table for us to have this.
And you know,
so
I'm
I mean,
asking this.
after this whole thing, I know for sure we're still going to go back to sleep until
You
another.
know, that is why I'm
disaster
asking
occurs.
this question, you know,
Okay,
that
so-
no, you will call for that. It looks like I'm not seeing, you know, that sense of urgency.
Well,
you know,
well,
in
it's
this,
not
there.
in this whole thing, because if after 4 or 5 months of one major such disaster happening, we've not even done, I don't know if they've done it, they should just let us know. You know, we haven't had any kind of feasibility to say that we need maybe this amount, you know, to
We're now discussing
rebuild.
island.
Frema, the school building at Fuvema is yet to even be roofed. The one that was
The one that
collapsed.
was
It's yet to be raised for the students to start. So as we speak, Fuvema, the students from JHS primary, they are, I mean, they are in one class literally. Okay, so if that is the future children we are talking about, students who were, I mean, largely impacted by this tidal wave, they are yet to get any relief. Imagine what happens to the entire.
Well, I mean, this whole conversation is situated along the coastal belt of Ghana, and the Coastal Development Authority CEO, Jerry Ahmed Shaib, was on Point of View and had some conversations with Bernard. Let's take a look.
How does government manage this type of expectation where the communities believe that there's a solution? Somebody said build a landing beach. That's the Adan person. Keta says want a sea defense. You are talking about the Waka project, which is a mix of all kinds of things. How are you going to manage all of this within the budget constraints? We're also in a time where there's austerity. So what's your closing comment?
Well, for government, the step is always to consider what we call the Coastal Rejuvenation Initiative, which is a combination of all the things we've talked about, including the planting of trees, the mangroves, coconuts, and all of that. And the relocation, which is key. Bernard, I mean, just like Fred just said, if you know that sleeping here, you may end up dying just because you'll be overtaken by the sea or you get submerged. Why are you even continuing to stay there?
Maybe they have no option. Maybe
So
they have nowhere else to go.
Options have been made available. I was in K2 South with Fred, and we saw that the government has made options available. So if you go to, for instance, Salakope, Agaveji, and Adna, there is a medium-term plan being rolled out. So the assembly has secured some funding to start the construction of some 100 houses. And that's going to be 2-bedroom facilities for the small island they are going to be on. That is an option. But if you're saying that there is an ancestral connection to the sea or to wherever you are staying and you are still going to die, and that's where you prefer to stay, that is not on. So beyond all of this, you also know that government is currently building about 11 landing beach places for our people. So that's a combination. And you know the Keta Lagoon, Keta Harbour is also a project that has been earmarked as part of this process. And then we can also talk about what EPA is doing. EPA is currently coordinating national efforts, which we call the ICZM, which is Integrated Coastal Zone Management. This is actually to properly categorize and zone coastal areas so that you can zone them based on the risk and their profiles, and then you will know the kind of solution to proffer, because it's not one size fits all. So if you for instance go to Keita and you know that it's a very low area, it's not the same as in Accra or Botiano, where we have different reasons to take care of the people there. So if we would allow government to take the necessary steps, including relocating people, including pursuing the green agenda, which includes planting mangroves, coconut, and all the trees that we can, and ensuring that sea defenses are also well built. I think that we'll get somewhere. And yes, when we're also doing this, the human character or the human being matters. So the issue of we coming in to give outboard motors out on subsidized prices, giving them food to eat.
All right, so that is the CEO of the Coastal Development Authority, Jerry Shipe. Now, I'm glad he mentioned, of all the things he talked about, I'm glad he mentioned
the
mangroves
the coconut
trees. For me, we need to be more practical as Ghanaians, honestly. Some of the highfalutin ideas that we have, after 5 years, we are still talking. We are still doing feasibility studies. We have invested money into feasibility studies. Then we will come and invest more money into more feasibility studies. Let's be more practical. Plant the trees.
And they should stop cutting it too.
And stop cutting the trees.
The existing ones as we speak.
Yes.
When you look at the Anglogan areas, because they do not have, they relied on firewood for over time. They go there and cut these mangroves. And it's quite appalling.
A lot of the communities that are affected by what's happening with the tidal waves is actually because of, like we said, human effect, human intervention in nature. You see, so first of all, the assemblies need to be empowered to stop people from cutting down trees for firewood, mangroves, coconut trees, whatever, firewood. And then now in all these areas who are struggling with tidal waves, this is what I think. I mean, what is it not a practical thing to do?
I think the planting, is it what's the name of the project? The tree planting.
Is it Green Ghana?
Yes. Ghana. So I think that initiative should be, aggressively implemented along the coast. Okay, especially with coconut trees, knowing very well that they do well along the coast and in the sandy soil. If that is aggressively done, I think in the next 2 to 3 years to come, we shouldn't be speaking about this. Even if we talk about it at all, the devastation shouldn't be this much. The water shouldn't be, because these kind of trees, they have their own nature of preventing the wind in a way, okay? So I think this is where government or the assemblies need to really turn their attention and make it an action-oriented kind of initiative, other than we going back to give them rice, fried oil, and they don't need it. Adam, for instance, when I was there, they're like, hey, it's not your rice we need. It's not. Just give us a landing beach. Like I was saying, their needs are peculiar because they want a landing beach, not a sea defense. You get it? So they feel when the landing beach is built, it will be about some 500 meters into the sea, and that would aid their, fishing expedition and everything. Then they are safe in a way. So naturally, we should, the visibility thing should be done, but we should tailor their needs accordingly so that they would all have some sort of respite in the near future.
Look, for me, I think that first things first, the basic stuff that we can do, i.e. get the community members to join in planting trees. It doesn't take much, at least immediately they might have issues, but in a very shortest time, these problems will not be this grave, and I think that we need money, but planting trees will not be like sea defense budget, it will not be like relocation budget. So in the meantime, let's get to work. Let's start with this, and for me, all I can say is it's unfortunate, but if you live in these areas and there's a way you can move on your own, do so, because you can't be waiting for government, you can't be waiting for help and die.
And then also,
sadly, this is the problem that we are facing. So if you can help it, move.
I will cite an example of the Fuveme area, Anyanui enclave in the Anglon district. For them, when they realize government support is not forthcoming with a dredger or an excavator to help them create a channel, they mobilized their manpower. They went ahead to create a different path through the mangrove, because those from Adan would have to go to those areas to trade. But because of the tidal wave, it actually silted a portion of their where they normally pass. So they have to put their manpower together. They didn't wait for any excavator, no dredger. They put their forces together and they did it themselves. So as we speak, they've now created a channel that connects them to Adan. So I mean, the intervention would come in many forms, but the communities themselves would have to also put their
of course,
manpower
because
together.
while we all wait for government to come do something, you are the ones bearing the brunt, you know. And if there's a terrible disaster, you are the ones going to face this. So whichever way you can help yourself, think about that, you know, and do it now.
I think that in the same way that the communities are saying that we need sea defense, they understand that there's something called sea defense that will help them. I think that we should educate more, even more so, about trees and planting of trees and the effect that nature itself, which doesn't cost money, you know, if we use nature, nature will protect us from nature.
It's true.
Do you see? If we teach them that and let them inculcate this into the kids, they will grow up understanding that if we're cutting down this tree, it may be good for my meal this evening, but in the future, it means the waves are coming into my house.
You may not even live there.
You will not be able to live there.
True.
You see? So that whole psychology is what we need to do, which means that education, our schools also need to do better, because we failed on different fronts. We failed. Yeah. All this is coming back to come and bite us.
Exactly.
Well, these are our behaviors, you know, things that we have contributed. And this is where we are now, unfortunately, you know. So, I mean, something needs to be done, from behavioral change to government's commitment to, I mean, we helping ourselves, whichever way. And I'm happy that as a fund, you know, that indigents of the area have come together to support, you know. In doing so, government should meet them halfway. You know, sometimes you have your money, you want to even help, but the kind of setbacks that you experience, you know, it's just a turn-off, you know. So if people are doing this, if they've started, now government knows. I'm assuming government did not officially know that, okay, so
but now we've told you.
But at least now we've told you. So I'm looking at, okay, get these people, because we have a lot of prominent people coming from the Volta region, coming from Greater Accra, you know. Let's meet these people, put politics aside, let's sit down. How do we protect people? How do we help people? Because things like this are not too good, you know. It doesn't speak well of the leadership of this country, you know, because if people have gone through this months ago, nothing has really been done, another disaster has hit them, we are not really hearing so much, you know, it does not speak well of the leadership of the country. So if some well-meaning individuals have come together to support, I think that government can meet them halfway, sit with them, let's have a proper way of doing this. And then, at least, you know, sometimes when you are doing something and you realize that you are being appreciated, it gives you the morale to even do more. You know, so at least let's support those who have the means to assist. You know, because I agree that government can't do it all. But those who can help, let them know that we appreciate your support and go on. Sometimes all it needs is some words of encouragement, you know, and also make things easy for them if they have to do certain things to help the community, to help the victims. Let's make things a bit free, a bit easy for people like that.
Fred, thank you.
Thank you too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
You even look sad.
Okay, we're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. More conversation.
You're welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily. So we are now also looking at another major problem, that is currently going on, and that is the school placement. So now BEC results have been released. Students, have had admission. Some are in schools, but we also have some parents, who have raised all kinds of concerns, i.e., so my child got, let's say, aggregate 9, but could not get his first choice school.
Yes.
And then he's taken to my fourth choice, and some of these choices are day schools. So parents have raised all kinds of concerns. Now, they have also moved out for these issues to be addressed. They are really not getting what they want. So I live in Kaswa. My child has been given a day school in somewhere in the Volta region. How do we address these problems? So how exactly? I think that a lot of parents do not understand how these placements are made or are done. So for instance, my child got aggregate 9, couldn't get first choice. Why is my child not getting the second choice school? Why is the child taken to a fourth choice school? So these are some of the issues. Some of them have reported already. Others are home because they need their issues resolved. Now, another angle to this whole placement and this marking of the whole BEC results. Private schools have also raised very serious allegations. This morning WAEC is telling them that show proof because the private schools are, in a way, alleging, that their students are marked down. And so it looks like we put in so much, but when the results come, private school students don't do well. And on the contrary, public schools are doing well. But they believe that when we all look at the system, private schools do well at the basic level, So how come these things do not reflect in their results? So these are some of the concerns being raised by private schools.
I don't like WAEC's stance.
Okay, so
to say don't make wild allegations, show proof.
Yes.
You should be interested as WAEC, okay, in saying, listen, okay, you know what? We hear your concerns. Let's look into the matter and see if there's anything there. Now, because you see, in Ghana, we have this attitude of, if you don't have evidence, why are you talking?
But should it not be so?
Should we not talk because we feel that there's a problem?
But I also think, no, I understand.
Because this whole thing of show evidence, it's
no, but I also think that
that's what allows crime
to
continue.
But David, no, but I also can't get up and say that David is a thief.
Okay.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
This is serious allegations. So on what grounds
are you saying this?
Okay. So for me to now say that, okay, let's engage each other, let's sit down, let's talk. I am also expecting that, okay, private schools will come up and say that we have this on paper, we have this. So for instance, these are our students, okay? If we can have a school, for instance, come up and say that these are our students. We have our mock results. We have class performances. We have this. So ideally, we are looking at these children should be between these kind of brackets when it comes to grades, But I can't have maybe an A student, and then all of a sudden at the end of BEC, when the results come in, the child is getting F. Then I am worried. But you can't also just walk to WAEC and say that you have marked me down. On what ground? You get it? So I think that WAEC's stance is, on what grounds are you making these allegations?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I think that is a fair question.
Okay.
You have the right to say that you have not treated me fairly. But I also need to understand why you are saying I've not treated you fairly.
Okay.
So I think that it's a fair question.
Okay, well, we have Enoch Jetua, who is the National Executive Director for the Ghana National Council of Private Schools, on the line. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, and how are you doing this morning?
My grace.
All right.
We are doing very well.
Welcome to Breakfast Daily. Thank you. Now, on what basis is the private schools, well, on what basis are you making allegations, as WAEC puts it, wild allegations, that your students are being marked down?
Thank you very much. And then let me use this opportunity to greet all your cherished viewers and the private education practitioners this morning. Private schools have been in this job for over years, and we actually have been marked as an epitome of good or excellent education in Ghana. This is not the first time we have written B, C, and then we just come out to make, let's say, as WAEC is saying, what allegations against them. Perhaps they didn't understand what we are looking for as that call for their, let's say, response. Our position is that whether or not our children, the marks that has been given to them reflect the, let's say, the true candidature and the true results of the children, we are demand the examination script to align ourselves with, which is very valid. The reason why we are saying this is that we've been with these children for over years, and we prepared them for foundational assessment, which has to do with these mock exams, which has to do with this internal assessment that we write. And we know our students. So the papers and the test items our children brought to us, as we align it with the, let's say, the marking scheme, we believe and we trust our children that these have been passed, or let's say they have, let's say they have the what takes to pass those exams. As we speak to you now, it is only WAEC that will be able to make the actual source of the evidence, which has to do with the exam script, to be up, for it to be afraid, and then we can make a valid, let's say, discussions on that. But if WAEC comes out to say that you should prove evidence, what kind of evidence are they requesting for? Because let's use this opportunity to educate our viewers that these exams that we write, WAEC is mandated to set the questions. The questions are being set by WAEC. After they appoint their invigilators and whatever, and after the children have written the papers, the only evidence that they get is the grade. But you don't get the grade if you don't have question 1 what you get, question 2 what you get, question 3 what you get. The grade represents the summary, let's say, marks that the child got from all the test items, the question the child, let's say, answered. So if there is contention on the grading, the only evidence that can validate the contention, or let's say that can set aside the contention, is the script. And let us ask ourselves, who is having the script, or if the script is in whose custody as we speak now? So yet, for the first time in this country, to bring out the script of those children. And if the script of those children is being brought together, and we appraise it based on the answering of those questions, then you will be able to ascertain that whether or not the grade that has been given to us reflects the true candidature and the true academic aspects of our children. That is our argument.
Right, Enoch. Why do you think WAEC would be motivated in any way to mark private school students down?
What we are saying is that, and we don't understand why this year the total, let's say, children in the private school, or the kind of limit, the kind of pace that we have been in the system for some years now, even to the point of government even make a reference point to our academic credibility, to even change the curriculum, to even reserve 30% of our category A schools for the public schools, all because the private schools always pass. And this year it has changed. It has changed in a sense the way that the grading system that has been given to our children don't reflect the kind of academic expectations or academic outcomes that we have been with these children. Let me take this opportunity to diverge in a different way. In education, we have 3 key blocks. We have the curriculum, the instruction, and the assessment. The curriculum is prepared by the NACA people. We are the people who deliver the content. And we have been on this for 9 years with a single child. You can use 2 or 3 days to assess the child, and then by the end of the day, you come and tell us that the grading system, which you align it with the previous foundational assessment, will differ. And we have been tipped. Private schools have been tipped on that. So our argument is very simple. WAEC produce the scripts. It's like a parent who is in a school and feels that the question the child wrote has not been properly marked. So you just show the paper that this is the paper the child wrote. These are the index number. I've been hearing that WAEC is saying they don't have mechanism to trace that you are from private school or you are from it. What is the essence of giving them the index number? What goes into it? What is the mechanism WAEC uses to even distribute the grading system or the grades to the students if they don't have identification marks to those children?
Right
so
now,
this is the time WAEC to accept that in the first time of the history of education, an organization, the private schools are saying that produce the marking script. Let us give it to an independent body with the marking scheme, and then you will see whether or not our children pass or not.
Right now, so if I understand correctly, your last sentence, you are not looking at WAEC doing the remarking because you've called for a remarking.
Well, whether it calls for remarking, it is part of the structure. And when you talk about remarking, it is part of WAEC's systems of proving accountability. This is not the first time someone has asked for remarking.
No, I understand, but I wanted to understand properly because looking at where you stand and the allegations you are raising, if it is that same WAEC going to do the remarking, then really what is the point? I don't know if you get where I'm coming from.
That is what yesterday we said, that we are calling for an independent body to prove the marking of the children, the scripts. And if the scripts are not available, what will be the way for the independent body? Private schools are prepared to take the cost of that independent body to make sure that accountability and responsibility charged on state institutions are done. You understand? This is not a time for any, let's say, state institution, after you utilize our taxpayers' money, to come and say that you should come and prove. What you locked us in a room, you took the key, and what kind of access do we have with it? Those keys are with WAEC. The marking script, which actually reflects the true nature of the children, is with WAEC. They should bring it out, and then an independent body will go into it. And then you will see the true colors of our children. Then you will appreciate that.
Right. Now the students have reported to school. So let's say that eventually the scripts are remarked, the grades change. What happens? People are in school. Are we now going to get students to come back, place them differently? What exactly would happen?
It's better for this country to do proper things rather than to jump the holes and then come and face it. This is some of the reasons why we've been experiencing unemployment situations and all that. We want proper things to be done. The first thing, yes, children are in school, but as we speak to you now, go to some of the coalition centers or let's say reconciliation centers. Children are also there. What are they also doing? Are they not Ghanaian children? Are they not supposed to be placed at the same time? These are some of the issues that have raised concern on that. Yesterday, most of the parents were saying that they've gotten aggregate 8. They were in the private school. They have not been put in their first choice. They are being sent to their fourth choice and the rest. And these are some of the issues that we want to address and address it properly. So you shouldn't be thinking that children are in school. If it takes that those children who have passed or who have failed, supposed to reach it, they have to reach it. That is the essence of having the reach it exams in Ghana. Other than that, everybody will pass. The exam is set in to check those who actually have gotten the merit to move on in academics. It is not purposely for, let's say, a ceremonial thing that you just have to write it and then throw it away.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Yeah, so we've been speaking with Enoch Jetua, who is the coordinator for the Ghana National Private Schools Association. Now, for me, the point he made is simple. The proof is actually in the exam scripts that are with WAEC. So when you say prove it, don't make wild allegations. WAEC has to be willing to open up those scripts. When you call for remarking the university, what is it that happens? The remarking is not. We have to see the script.
Yes.
Do you see?
Yeah.
And not the lecturer who marked it first will be the one to mark. Somebody else has to mark it. A different person
you know,
has to
so
mark
for
it.
me, I perfectly agree with them, but I think that, so let's have, you know, like he was speaking, we've sat with them, we've done mocks, show us their scripts, you know. So sometimes this is how it has to be done. But if you really need answers, you corner the people, you know. So bring mock exams, bring final end of term
assessments,
assessments, you understand? Let us have their result slips. You know, so that's what I said earlier. This is an A
so
student.
This person
has this, and give us like maybe 50 of those. You know, but I am a parent. Okay, my son wrote BEC, but I can't say that my son's paper was marked down because of the results he got, and he's coming from a private school. So that is why I'm saying that it might not be a general issue. So let's bring out the details as well, because when you also want to prove it, now WAEC has the upper hand, and they are telling you that prove it. So maybe you can also, now you've spoken to the media, let us see the results. This is David Sechi. David Sechi, over the years, these are his results.
All in the last 30 results.
Thank you very much. How come this time around, David Sechi is getting aggregate 30?
And then
because
you produce about 50 of such students.
Thank you very much. And then we can also say that, okay, WAEC, so how do you respond to this? But if you just raise the concerns, things happen. You know, sometimes exam of that magnitude, children
will get fright. You know,
I mean, exam fright, they get this, things do happen. So I'm not saying that the private schools don't have a case. They do. But I think that they can also push a bit further and get WAEC to do the needful.
All right, well, Breakfast Daily is going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.